It is my honor and privilege to get to talk today to author Caleb Glaser. He is the author of the newly released book, No Second Coming. And Caleb, tell us about this book.
Stacey, thank you so much. This book really it's a novel, and it's at the heart of this book is really the idea of what it means for us that Jesus was a human being. And so this novel follows the story of this character in one of the Gospels, Zacchaeus, who's this tax collector. And if you have any idea about the story of Jesus, you've heard of this character before. He's this tax collector who climbs up a tree to see Jesus. And that story sort of intrigued me. And so this book is his sort of life story, but it's from the perspective of meeting Jesus, this man who meets Jesus as a human being. And so the story follows his life. He starts out as a rabbi, and he's actually a teacher, just like Jesus is in the Gospels. He's very young, he's very idealistic, but his life goes ways he didn't expect it, like all of our lives go. So because of that, he ends up becoming this tax collector, which is this sort of hated position in the society. It's like something like an IRS agent meets a I don't know, a spy. It's like they were really disliked in their society, and they worked for the Romans. And the way that Romans collected taxes is they basically gave these people all the power to collect as much money as they wanted, and they charged the tax collectors a certain amount of money for each district. So the tax collectors could charge the people however much they wanted. And this led obviously to all kinds of corruption. And so they were really hated people. They were also incredibly successful people. Um, then you have this guy who eventually he ends up climbing up this tree because he's short, and this sort of an undignified thing to do, particularly at the time. And he climbs up this tree to get a look at Jesus, who's this kind of wild prophet guy from the north of the country, which is like the unfashionable part of the country. But he's amassed this big following of people, and he's saying things that people, particularly poor people, are really responding to. And so this very successful tax collector climbs up this tree to take a look at him. And so that's what the book is about. It's about what's the heart of a man who's in that position but does that anyway. So that's sort of the gist of what the book is about.
I have always loved that story in the Bible. I don't know if you ever sing the song, like the song that goes with that. I was just thinking of that.
Okay.
In like children's church, there was a song that we
Okay.
used to sing that, anyway, I won't sing it for you now, but I'm just
That's
saying,
okay.
I've always thought that's an interesting story because you're right. Like that had to be out of kind of desperation to climb that tree.
Yeah,
I've
that's
also
right.
always thought it's amazing that Jesus basically reached out to, you're right, like who society considered like this low person, right? And so it shows
Right.
amazing things on both sides. And so I have to ask though, what was the main inspiration that made you say, hey, I want to put this into a book?
Yeah, it's a great question. There was a couple things. The main inspiration came from these conversations I had with a very dear friend of mine, who is a 94-year-old priest, and he's just a wonderful guy. And we had all these conversations about who is God, what does it mean if there is a God. And obviously he's coming from a more religious background, and so I'm very sort of skeptical and analytical. And so I'm asking him all these questions. Well, what does it mean if Jesus is God? What does that mean? You're saying, or if God is real, what does that mean? And so we had all these conversations about this, and what we came to sort of together in that back and forth was that if there is a God, if you're going to find God, then it's in the person in front of you. That's the only place that you can find God. and God's not out there in the sky somewhere, or some sort of um benign entity just kind of watching everything happen. It's inside of the person in front of you, and that for us it's to be God for each other, so that we can make God real in the world. And that's what our role is as human beings, is to make God present to each other, and to allow others to make God present to us. And so that was what we came to. And so it was just a very exciting idea, and something that I think neither of us had really come to before on our own, and nor had we ever heard it quite that way. And so I had always written little things here and there. And so my friend said, we should write a book about this. And so that's where the inspiration for the book came from. I think also there's a sense in which I really believe that stories are the most enduring form of hope. And we need some hope so much in our world now, particularly more than ever. It's like, I think that we're in this situation where we just have lost our sense of where we're going that could be positive, and that we need something that makes us come together and say, yeah, that's right, that's how we all feel. And because really at the heart of everything, the heart of humanity, we're all sort of the same. We have a lot of differences that kind of pull us apart from each other, but at the heart we all want to be loved and to love other people unconditionally. And that's what makes us all the same. What we're all looking for is really at the heart of it is sort of the same thing. So I think those were the inspirations for the book, particularly those conversations, and just that belief that it's hey, we don't have to wait around for God to do for us what we should be doing for each other. There's no reason for that. We don't have to wait for Jesus to come back out of the sky and do for us what we should be doing for each other anyway. He gave us that job. That's if God is real, that's the job he gave to us. If the life of Jesus means anything, it's to show what we can do for each other if we really put aside ourselves and focus on the person in front of us, and allow that person to be God for us, and try to make God present to them. So that's the inspiration.
Well, those are very powerful messages in this book. And so I love this. I think it's fantastic. So is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about you, about the book's message, anything about more about the book? Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Sure. Yeah, I think again, the book is, first of all, it's a novel. So there's all kinds of things that could be inaccurate about it, or what have you. I tried to make it, I love history, and so I tried to make it as accurate as possible, even like going over old maps and stuff and trying to see how, if they're traveling from here to here, how long is it going to take them, and that kind of stuff. But really at the heart of it, it's a novel to express this feeling that the message of Jesus was to find God in the people in front of him. And that's what Jesus did, is that Jesus was a man. And whether, people can argue about whether he was God or not, but this novel is not really concerned with that. And it doesn't get into whether that's the case or not. But what we do know is that he was a person, and he was a human being just like us. So, and his message was to say, we can take care of each other in a radically different way than we've been doing. And that he found God in other people, in the people in front of him. And, one of my favorite scenes from the gospel, which is, I don't want to give anything away, but I think it's okay to say that in the crucifixion, Jesus sort of turns, all of his friends have sort of abandoned him, except for one of them, and he had to get that one to take his mom away so she didn't have to witness this terrible scene, because who would want their mom to see that? And but so the rest of his friends all abandon him, the people closest to him, and so he's desperate, and he's, sitting there alone, dying. And then this guy, this criminal next to him, suddenly decides that he believes in him, even though he's sitting there dying, and that brings him back. And that guy is making God present to Jesus, and that brought him right back. And then he said, okay, yes, all right, if you believe in me, then everything's been worth it. So I think that's really that's what this book is about. That's what this story is about. And fundamentally, I think that's what, in some ways, all of our lives should be about as well.
Well, we highly recommend everyone pick this book up on, it's available anywhere online books are sold,
Yep.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Reader House. It's available at all of those places. And we recommend everyone pick this book up. And thank you for, sharing your heart with us. Thank you for sharing with us about the book today. And we hope to check back in with you and see how
Sure.
things are going soon.
Great. I appreciate it, Stacey. Thank you so much.